Hey, everybody, welcome back. We've got another episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for watching and all the support you guys have been doing. Really, really appreciate it. Today, we have a great guest, a really cool friend of mine, and an amazing cosplayer. I'm very, very excited to dive in on their process, lots of different things about cosplaying in general, and also a really cool food thing that we both share. So, without further ado, the one, the only, Mischievous B.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming by. I think this is going to be really, really cool. I've had a great time doing these episodes, talking to a bunch of people so far. We talked to Jay not too long ago.
You have to. You have to. He's a great dude.
Oh yeah, he super positive guy, and learned a lot about his specific perspective about cosplaying. So I'm curious to see your side because I know there are some differences in how you guys go about that. So I'm excited to learn. But for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
About myself? Well, I'm there's not much to know. I mean, I'm just another girl on the internet, cosplaying. I just enjoy interacting with the community, especially the Siege community, like specifically the Siege cosplay community. Like you guys are like my friends and like my internet friends because I don't have much of a friend group outside of you guys, but I do. I cosplay, I play video games, I create all sorts of content, but yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that obviously cosplaying is the biggest thing for you, but recently you've been diving into some new types of stuff. So I was kind of curious about like what drove that into doing that more like variety style short form content, and like how you feel that's going for you.
A lot of the stuff I started out with was cosplay, so yeah, but I kind of want to branch out and try other things because cosplay is not my only interest, and it's kind of hard to get up every day and start cosplaying, and especially like with different weather patterns, like in the summer, it's way too hot to cosplay. But yeah, most of my audience comes from my cosplay, so it's definitely hard to branch out of like that one niche that your channel has, like your brand has, and branch out into other stuff. I'm finding it a little difficult, but I'm kind of like analyzing the algorithm I get from like the different platforms I post on just to see like what does well and what doesn't.
When you look at those kinds of things, like is there anything specifically that you're looking for outside of like just viewership, or is it really kind of mostly paying attention to that?
I mean, a lot of it is viewership, but it's also like interactions that we need. So, like commenting, liking, sharing, that sort of thing, following, like those are more so the things I look for rather than just viewers. Because, like, I don't know, those interactions, it shows that people are like actually interested in that post and they're not just scrolling past it on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because a lifetime ago, practically, I started out doing like artwork and like drawing and some spray painting stuff, and that was a weird thing that I noticed is like there wasn't really ever interactions, but man, people were liking it, and so I was thinking like, man, this is going really good. And then when I would try to do stuff outside of Instagram, it was like nothing. So it's interesting that you bring that to light because a lot of people do, I think, get that misconception that just because you're getting a lot of likes, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not the only thing you should be looking for in terms of seeing what's working and what's not.
I mean, like also doing stuff like getting messages from brands on certain posts. Like I post something and then like brands will reach out to me and be like, "Hey, do you want to do this for us or do you want to uh be an affiliate with us?" That sort of stuff. That's also another thing I look out for because that means I'm doing good. Brands are seeing me. They want to do more with me because they're seeing my engagement and they're seeing the potential in my content. So, messages. Always look out for those.
Just not the weird ones. Don't send weird
Yeah,
messages, please.
don't send weird messages. And there are like a few scams be like, hey, message this account. And that's like immediate red flag. Like that's always like my Instagram messages are like that. That's why I kind of came up with a business email to put in my bio. That way I don't have to deal with that because they're not going to go and email that.
So when I'm glad you mentioned that, not even just the business email, but like the fact that there are fake approaches out there. Is there any like kind of telltale signs that you feel is where it's like, yeah, this is not even close to smelling good versus like, is there any that you've almost accidentally gone through with?
Well, I have a lot of personal experience in like cybersecurity stuff and cybersecurity training because that's what I go to school for. So there's always stuff to look out for, like misspellings, links to random pages, especially the little bit.ly links. I know they're changing those up, and it's like just hover over it, and in the bottom right corner of your screen, it'll show the actual link it's sending you to. Um, but like if it's sending you to some other page, like go message this page, that's immediately a red flag. But usually, if it's like in an email and they're reaching out to you, they'll send you like, I guess I'm trying to think of how to word this, but like they'll send you information. And if they have attachments, don't look at the attachments yet. Uh, go through the email. Like most people go through cybersecurity training when they get a new job. Just think about that sort of stuff that they teach you in those. So, what to look out for. I mean, it's really hard just to pin it down to one thing, you know?
It's a lot of things. I mean, I think the work example is a good one because, while not every job has that, um, there are a lot of jobs who have phishing training. And, for those that don't know what phishing is, I obviously don't know the specific definition, so feel free to step in anytime. But essentially, it's when you're getting a fake message of some kind, they're trying to get some information from you, whether it's through clicking a link or you opening something or responding in a way that you probably shouldn't. Um, it can be through text messages, emails, crazy enough, even phone calls. So it's not, foolproof, but they'll teach you some things to where if it looks kind of weird, probably is.
And another thing, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And if it sounds too bad to be true, it also probably same thing.
There was an experience that I had gone through where we had been reached out to about a siege tournament, and everything seemed fine at first until we started asking a couple questions just to prepare, normal questions that any creator in an event would be asking. And I think I've gotten rid of some of those tweets now because I realized it wasn't really good taste to just start airing out some things. However, I do tell people to not do business with those people because they're still out there. But yeah, the platform itself was a little shady. We ended up uncovering a lot of complaints about the structure of those, and it ended up not really being what we thought it was. And turns out that they were actually not paying anybody like they said they were. So we almost fell for something pretty serious, and I was glad that we took a little look at that. But it's very important because it's easy to fall into that when it's too good to be true, and everything seems like it's going really, really good, really, really fast. Time to take a minute, pump the brakes a little bit, and just kind of check it out.
And recently, I even had a thing where I was like, okay, I got an email from this recruiting agency, and I was like, okay, this is already fishy. But they wanted to meet and chat. So like a video call, not like in person. And I'm like, oh, okay, I could do a video call. And I checked out the website that they were promoting and everything, and like the brand they were doing. And I was like, this is actually legit. I scroll down, I look at their social medias. It's not set up yet, but the site does say it's still in beta, so it's to be expected. Um, so I reach out to them and I'm like, hey, let's meet this time, this day. And I met them. They're real people and they're not in some random call center either. They're like in their houses, like working from home, that sort of thing. And then I told them about the social media pages and how it's linked to some random social media account. And they're like, oh wow, we did not know that. Like, we'll let them know. And it actually turned out to be a legit thing. It's just they're in beta, so they're just trying to pull creators in so that they can launch this. So it is a legit thing, but you just got to do that research. It's important.
Awesome. Kind of switching gears a little bit. I do want to talk about specifically your cosplay content.
Okay.
So when it comes to like your process, generally everybody has a different thing and how they approach going about a new cosplay or even reviving an old one. Is there any kind of like system that you use for yourself to like whether it's keeping it organized or going through the creative process to to make those come to life?
My process is pretty chaotic. Like, for each cosplay, I have a folder on my computer and I throw all my references there. I throw any cosplay pictures I've taken of that cosplay, like of myself. I throw it in that folder. I compare it to references, and from there on, I have, depending on what it is, I'll have either a document or just a web browser like bookmark folder for that cosplay. And it's like, this is stuff I need to order for that cosplay, or this is stuff I need to make for that cosplay. And using the references and looking at my own photos, I kind of compare like what's most what's the most realistic I can make this cosplay. And then from there on, I open up a web browser, I go and browse like more sources and try and look for certain very specific detail parts, that sort of thing. Like my process is just chaos, I will tell you that much. At least for my Siege cosplays.
I mean, there is the old saying, "There's calm in the chaos."
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it's wrong. If it works for you, that's really all that matters, right? Um, but it's one of the things that we had discussed with Jay was the spectrum of people purchasing their costumes versus making them, and like where everybody fits in that. Neither one's wrong inherently, but it is interesting that it seems like you fall a little bit in the middle to where like you said, in some cases you end up searching some stuff up, buying stuff because I'm sure someone could make everything, but I'd imagine it's easier and less stressful on yourself when you need to just find something. It's probably best to do that. Um, is that something like you feel like you experience often, or is it more so on the side of making things?
What do you mean? Like, sorry, can you repeat the question?
No, that's cool. Like, do you find that you end up more on the side of like purchasing things rather than making them, or do you feel it's a little bit balanced in between, or are you on the other side where you mostly make stuff?
um I feel like I mostly purchase things and then alter them, like to fit either my body or the character more. Like, I don't just buy things and then leave them as is. Because, like, with my IQ cosplay, for example, the helmet I had to paint, the visor I had to take off and pick, like, random bits out of the in between the glass. Um, I had to, like, change the vest to fit me better because it was, like, way too big. It was a men's, like, large or something. And there was a belt I had for her cosplay that was way too big for me, and now it doesn't fit me because I altered it to where I can't alter it again. Um, and then her hoodie, I did the purple lining in her hood. But yeah, just like little things like that, like just to make it suit you better or suit the character more. Like if you can't find a specific part, then just alter it, you know? I'm not a good sewer, steamtress, whatever you call it. I can't make my own clothes. I'm not good at that, but I can alter stuff. Like that's at the point where I'm at with my cosplay making skills.
Is that a skill that you like learned through cosplaying, or did you kind of like fiddle around with it first and start into getting in cosplaying that way?
I actually did start cosplaying first, and I got into sewing and crafting and stuff because of that. Like making costumes because of that. I was already like an artsy person as a kid, so I was always drawing and stuff. And like, I used to draw up little outfits, and I was like, one day I'm gonna make this, and then I never did. I'm like, I'm not gonna get to that skill level. But yeah, so I started sewing because of cosplays. Like, I got my own sewing machine and everything. And then I've done a little bit of work with 3D printing. I haven't actually 3D printed myself, but I work with people print me stuff and then they send it to me. I piece it together and I paint it. And that's what my alibi gun is.
That's something. Now, I mean, for context, you and I met at the Charlotte Major.
Yeah.
Um, many, many, many. It feels like years ago.
Yeah.
um, but that was something that I kind of had asked around when I was at the event. Is I saw a lot of the prop weapons and stuff like that, and some of them were very, very, if not like perfectly accurate to the ones in game. And I was like, how in the hell did you guys do this? Because I know people aren't just like selling these, like they aren't just making them like you could go to Walmart and buy it. Like, what's up with that? And I saw one that was the EBR, Dokubi's EBR, and I was like, damn, I want that so bad. And they're like, "Oh, I 3D printed it." I was like, "Dude, how much would it be?" And they're like, "Oh, it's like almost $1,000." I'm like, "I'm just gonna look at it. I think it's really pretty."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's 3D printing is really incredible. I think, especially for stuff like that. When you work with people on those, is it like are you modeling that stuff, or are you just kind of like commissioning them to be like, "Hey, this is what I want." And they're like, "Oh, cool. Let me mock it all up together," and then like that back and forth process to make sure it's all correct, or is it something that they already know what's up?
Um, it depends on who I'm asking, because I have a few 3D printing friends. Like, as we all know, we have Darnie, his stuff. He models it himself. He's doing great. He does it specifically for Siege. I've gotten my I have two Prismas, and then I have IQ's, what is it called? The ED reader. I forget what it's called. Yeah. Um, and then for my gun, I commissioned my friend Delvin. Um, and he printed it out for me. I found a file for the real, like the gun that Alibi's gun is based off of. So we found that real print. He printed it out. I kind of adjusted it to suit Alibi more, because the barrel on the original gun is super long, and then the barrel on Alibi's gun is like super tiny. So we kind of worked between that, and then he printed it out, sent it to me. He sent me videos on like how to put it together, like how to do the sanding and the uh soldering, like
Oh, the
soldering.
soldering. Oh,
Yeah,
where
it's
like
like
melts
plastic
together, or
soldering. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay, okay.
And so I like borrowed my dad's soldering iron and everything. But yeah, so I figured that out on my own, kind of. It was my first time working with 3D printing, like 3D printed stuff, like especially plastic. And all I could say is wear a respirator and wear long sleeves and long pants, because my legs were cut up after that. It was rough. Yeah.
Yeah, I can attest to the respirator, especially as long as I was spray painting. This shit is no joke.
Yeah. Like, even if you're in an open area,
Respirator,
respirator.
hundred
Yeah.
percent, and not one of like the painter's masks. Like get a full blown respirator, and they're a little pricey, and that sucks. But I will take a 60, 70, $80 respirator over a hospital bill any day.
Yeah.
It's interesting though that there was soldering involved. I mean, like it makes sense because I've seen like I don't know if it's like technically welding or if it is soldering, but like the little like staples that they'll use and then like melt those into
Yeah.
plastic and shave them down and stuff. I always assume people just glued everything together, but that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
probably is more structurally sound.
I mean, I dropped this Prisma and I didn't know how to fix it, so I just hot glued the I just hot glued it. Don't tell Darnie, he's gonna be so mad. But now I know that I could like solder it and like actually fix it, so I might do that before the next event.
In terms of when you travel, how do you pack that stuff and make sure that you're not stopped and
Yeah,
questioned for
yeah.
that? Not that like it's an
Absolutely.
illicit thing, but I mean, knowing how the TSA is there like do you have to go through the normal like firearm form situation, or do you have to like go through a very specific process with that?
So, I go through an international airport, so they're very careful on what goes through and stuff. I have never brought a realistic weapon through, so I don't know how that goes, but I did bring my Prisma through the airport, and it has like electric wiring in it, so I know that they can scan for that, and it's like it looks like kind of like a grenade. So I put a piece of paper in there and I added references to all my cosplays, all my props in there, and I let them know about the event I was going to, where they could search it up, that sort of stuff. Why I have all these like SWAT gear in my bag, that sort of stuff. Why I have weird looking props, and I let them know that none of them work. The electric wiring in there is so that the light will turn on, and I was like, you can even test it and do this to turn it on and stuff. And so I just fill out as much information on everything in my bag as I possibly can. And I send it through and I hope for the best. But I know that a lot of my friends, a lot of their bags have been broken or lost in security and they kind of lose that stuff. So I'm always scared that's going to happen, but it never has happened to me. So fingers crossed it stays that way.
Yeah, we Jay and I had talked about I don't know, with you having some cybersecurity knowledge, you may or may not know who this is, but DV Olaf posts on YouTube a good bit.
Yeah.
And so I you may have seen his TSA stuff about firearms and traveling with that, but yeah, they're pretty notorious for breaking people's bags and not knowing what to do. So I think that is probably the best case scenario for you is how you do it. Um, because yeah, most of them don't know the rules. It's a little scary.
You always want to check like what's allowed in your carry-on, what's allowed in your checked baggage, that sort of stuff. You want to go through that TSA site first, and then you want to make sure that the country you're going into that it's not illegal there. I may have smuggled candy into Canada that was illegal there. Apparently, apparently warheads are not legal in Canada.
What?
Like the candy. Yeah.
Like the little
So,
sour candies?
yep.
Wow.
So don't take those into Canada.
Because otherwise, it's scary.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until I searched it up later, and I was like, "Oh, that's why they don't have this in Canada." Because I made little goodie bags for the foreigners I was staying with. They're all from like the UK and stuff, so I was like, "Oh, I'll bring them little American candies and treats so that they can try them." Like I brought Twinkies and stuff. Yeah, turns out warheads are not legal. I did not get arrested though, so but yeah.
But now they know. They're looking
Yeah.
for you.
Exactly. But like yeah, so go through the TSA list, that sort of stuff, and then when you put that piece of paper in there with all that information on it, you want to make sure in big letters it says please read I am not no. It just please read this TSA agent, like that's what I literally wrote on mine. So
Because yeah, I mean, I'd imagine they are gonna open that bag.
yeah. And when they open it, it needs to be the first thing they see. Like you gotta tape it to like the top layer of the bag, or you gotta like set it on top and hope it doesn't move around in the bag. But they're gonna open your bag, so
One of the things that you and I share in common is our love for a specific food. And I know this is one of your favorite topics to discuss. So I wanted to make sure that we did that and we had the opportunity, and you have the floor here. So I should have told you ahead of time where you had time to make a presentation, but we're gonna make do here. Um, that commonality here is pickles, and while Jay may hate them, B and I both love them.
oh,
Like,
not Mount Olive.
okay, well
Oh.
maybe you don't love these.
No, those are fine. Not my best, but
I am not as educated in the art of pickle. I am very entry level pickle connoisseur. So if you would please dive into not only your favorite pickles, but what should we all be looking for in a good pickle?
a good pickle, not a sweet pickle.
Okay, okay.
Sweet pickles are disgusting. They are a disgrace to the pickle family. I will not lie. They need to have that right balance of dill and garlic. Like, you don't want the garlic to be overpowering. You want more of the dill to come out rather than the garlic. Um, Good pickles. My favorite, these guys, the Clausen kosher dill. Always a good choice. I also do like the Grillos, but it's like a 50-50 on whether or not they'll be up to my standards because they're more of like a natural pickle. Like they go bad if you when you open them, like they will go bad within like a week or two. So it's like a 50-50 on if they're going to be good because they got that natural flavoring, no like preservatives or anything. Like, yeah. So it's a 50-50 on how they'll taste. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I have an entire pickle rating system in my personal Discord server that I do use every time I go shopping for pickles. So, yeah.
Are you comfortable walking us through that rating system, or is this something that you got to keep close to the vest? You don't want to give away your industry secrets.
I don't have a specific like thing list I go down on. It's just in my brain. Like I'm like, you know what, this pickle's a 7. I'll give it a 7. And I compare it to other pickles too, and like what I like about the pickle, what I didn't like, the amount of dill, the amount of garlic, that sort of stuff, the salt content. And then I always take a picture of the pickle and I write down this pickle is from this place or this brand. And I'm like, does this pickle taste like another pickle that I've tried? That sort of stuff. But it's a very long list and it's very precise.
So would you classify yourself as a pickle archivist, perhaps, maybe a historian?
I would say so. Yes, yes.
I think that you're doing the true work here.
Yes. I don't know if my friends use the pickle rating system, but I do. I know one person made fun of me for it and like did like a spin-off, like a little parody, one of my friends. I was like, okay, you don't disrespect the pickle. Like, can't disrespect the pickle enthusiast. It is an art form.
Exactly. The pickle priest did not become super popular for his hatred of pickles. I'll say that.
I love the pickle priest.
He's wonderful.
And I did get a pickle at the Ren Fair when I went this year.
You,
So it was delicious.
Wait. From the pickle priest?
Not the pickle priest,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately. But our pickle priest, yeah.
Okay. Good.
They're all very chill dudes. Like, they'll give you pickles. Like, that's all I want in life. It's weird taking a pickle from a stranger, but it's delicious. And it's so unsanitary, but I think there's enough salt in there, salt and vinegar in there that it's fine. It'll kill the bacteria.
Something.
Yeah.
It'll kill it or mummify it, one or the other.
Right.
The only thing, I mean, I'm sure there's a Ren Fair somewhere down here in Florida, but the only thing that I know of that's remotely close is medieval times. And I know people have their feelings about medieval times, and I understand them. I'm not here to invalidate that. However, I will say that historically the Green Knight is the hot one. But maybe what can save them is having their own pickle priest.
Agreed.
So I think anyone who works at medieval times and calls the shots in any way, shape, or form, that's a free idea for you. I won't ask for anything. However, if you have a job opening, I will happily take it if it involves the pickles. I'll be your pickle manager, and maybe B can hop on as a consultant as well.
Yep. Let me in there. If it has to do with pickles, I got you.
I don't know if I ever sent it to you now that I'm thinking about it. Did I ever tell you about the Pickle Things book? Oh, okay. Let me grab this for you real quick to share with you.
Should I be scared? I'm kind of excited.
It's an old book. It's still in production, I think. But it is a very old book. So yeah, some of the artwork is a little creepy.
Pickle thing. Yes, you did send me this. I recognize the cover. Okay.
Did you ever get a chance to read it yet or no?
I did not.
It's 42 pages. That's much longer than I remember it being. But yeah, Pickle Things, for those who don't know, is a children's picture book. And it's like very rhymey. And it is essentially like, like that one song, he lives in a blue house in a blue world and everything all around him is blue. Well, think about that, but it's pickles. And they make sure you know what and what is not a pickle. Very, very informative book there. But for the fellow enthusiasts, I think you'll enjoy that.
If it says it's sweet, it's not a pickle, then I'm reading that book. I'm buying like 12 copies and giving them to my friends.
Would you like to share a pickle before we move on to the next topic?
Absolutely. Fresh jar. Let's open it. Hold up. I need scissors.
Oh, I gotta dig my hand in there for this. Hold on.
Gotta roll up the sleeves. Alright. I'm gonna open it now. Hold up. Oh, I'm strong. These are the baby pickles. I prefer the spears, but baby pickles are like close second. You ready?
Let's do it. Hmm.
It's a good ass pickle. I almost choked on it.
So good.
I don't know how you like the Mount Olives.
They're okay.
These ones have a perfect crunch. I will tell you that much. Every time. Just a nice, perfect crunch. It's not like an over pickled pickle. It's still got that like cucumber feeling, you know? Like the cucumber crunch.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but it's still got that good pickle flavor, enough dill, enough garlic, enough salt. It's good.
Yeah, with these, I think I got these on a buy one get one free. And that's probably why I have them.
You know what? That's fine. We gotta say where we can.
Yeah, there's really not many. Oh, affirming agent. Oh.
So they're fake.
Fake pickles.
If they're not artificial, I don't want it. No, but like Mount Olives are all that I ate in university because it's all I could afford. So I remember. Maybe that's why I don't like them anymore.
You're probably just sick of them.
Yeah.
With Siege specifically, I do want to get your thoughts on, what drove you into Siege and what kind of made you stay with it for as long as it has been. I mean, like obviously, there's been ups and downs in Siege, and there are some nasty. I hesitate to say fans of the game, but there's also a really welcoming and kind community, like you mentioned before. Is that the main driving force as to why you've stayed in Siege, or what? Like I said, what kept you engaged this whole time after you started?
Was the game that got me into it. Like, it wasn't the game that I got into, it was because my friends were playing it. And my friend group at the time got me into it, and I was enjoying the game, having fun. Continued playing it for like 2 years, and then I started meeting people in the game, and I was like, these people aren't that bad. Like, I've run into a lot of bad people playing this game, but these people are great. And as I was cosplaying before Siege, so I got into cosplaying. My first cosplay was IQ, and that was years before I got into the round table. And I made friends playing Siege, and I just kind of went from there. And then I started making content about it. Like, I didn't start my content making until like years later into Siege. So, started making content, fell in love with it, and then the round table, I think it was Nick or Bree who found me. And they were like, "Hey, we have a Discord of a bunch of Siege cosplayers." And I was like, "Okay, and you're inviting me?" Oh my gosh. And so the cosplay community, it has been what has kept me in Siege and in the Siege community. I will not lie.
Well, it's good. It's nice to be surrounded by, not even just like-minded people, but kind people.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't think there's maybe a handful, maybe, that haven't necessarily been like the kindest, but we all kind of see that on the website formerly known as Twitter. But there also has been such a rally around the cosplayers from the many things that have gone on online. So it's nice to see that there's not even just that generalized camaraderie of, hey, we all like this thing together, but that specific of like, we all understand each other and we get this, and it's supposed to be fun, not arguing about what operator is supposed to be doing what, because who cares? When did you start playing Siege actually? Because I believe you've been around for a good bit.
Yeah, I started playing Siege in 2017. So before I even got the PC I have now, I was playing on a crappy little laptop. It wasn't even a gaming laptop. I ran Siege at about 30 FPS. Yeah.
Perfect.
That was rough. And this door over here. I used to sit down on the floor with my little McDonald's headset that only has an earphone on one side, but at least it had a mic. And I used to sit on the floor because I didn't have any desk space. And I would play Siege with all my friends, and that's how I got started. We all start somewhere. I didn't have this nice setup. I didn't have this nice desk I got here. I didn't have this mic. Didn't have this headset. Like, didn't have my keyboard. No mouse. I was playing on the trackpad. I will not lie.
Hold on a minute.
I don't want to talk
Hold on
about
a
it.
minute.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, I'm not sitting here thinking that's like a blasphemous thing. I want to put in perspective just how crazy like good that is. That is a skill unmatched by anybody else. I don't care what anyone says.
Gotta work with what you got, you know? Mice are expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm in awe. That is, you should put that on your resume. I really think so.
Okay, I will. Use a trackpad to play video games.
But that's cool though. I mean, it like you said, yeah, everybody has to start somewhere, and that's really important. You don't need all the flashy stuff, especially if you're trying to get into, if you're pursuing content in an FPS game, even, but just in general, like, there's really not a whole lot that you really need to start out, and there's nice to haves. Like obviously we have the nice to haves, but it takes time to get there, and it's not always just from making it big. Sometimes you get what you get when you can. So it's nice. Is there any particular piece of gear that over the time that you've collected all the stuff that you have, is there anything that you would suggest that is kind of like a not necessarily a must have, but something to aim for to either improve quality of life or amplify the quality or anything like that?
That's a hard one because a lot of stuff you could get pretty good for cheap. Like this mic, like you can find cheaper ones that are just as good as this one, if not better. Um, I usually get a lot of stuff because it has lights on it, but one thing I really like is my mouse because you can change the DPI with these buttons. Like it has like preset settings, so you can change it like on the go, like you don't have to open up an app or anything. And then it has a DPI trigger so that you can change your DPI just while you're holding it. And I used to use that. I set it to a specific setting for my DPI when Ella's concussion mines used to slow down how fast you turn. And so I would always click that, and then I could move at normal speed because I had switched my DPI like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's like my little cheater mouse. It's by Razer. It's the Razer Basilisk. I don't know how you say it. But it's my favorite thing I've ever gotten.
I now know what those extra buttons on my mouse are for. So thank you for that. Sorry, what were
Got
you
you.
what were you saying along with that?
I don't remember.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I have a short memory. It's just gone as soon as I say it.
I also, yeah, I know what you mean. And it's I feel bad because sometimes I'll be the one where I forget the thing, and other times I'll be the one who makes people forget the thing. It's just never easy.
If you can't remember it, probably wasn't important, right? That's what my mom tells me every time I forget stuff.
Especially turn signals. No, I'm kidding. Please use your turn signals.
He's turned.
Please.
I have to tell my mom every time, this is not California, you have to use your turn signal.
If it wasn't important, she'd remember. Or if it was important.
She knows. She just chooses not to.
Oh, okay. She likes to live on the edge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She likes to throw hands with other drivers. She's like, hops out her car and she's like, all right, let's go.
Has she checked for any New Yorker in her? Or even some Floridian? Because that is a common occurrence down here. People will throw down for almost anything.
No, she's pretty passive. No. She's nice. I would throw hands for her though.
Understandable.
I think my dad I think it was my sister once. She was driving and she was like, "Hey, can you flip that person off?" And I was like, "Bet who? Let's go." I'm like, any chance to be aggressive? I'm like, I got that.
Driving, especially now, is I don't want to say like a hard skill, but it is at the same time, if that makes sense. Because like driving itself, I don't necessarily think is difficult. it's accounting for all the crazy people out there. And I
Yeah.
think that is a sentiment many of us probably would share. At least I hope so. If you don't share that sentiment, you're probably the one we have to worry about. Now that I think about that.
Cool. Siege cosplay story while driving. I was heading home from a con, and we were in deep into Denver, like downtown Denver, and we were driving. Some dude's trying to cut us off. I put my helmet on, my IQ helmet. I'm already decked out in the SWAT gear for IQ, and I turn over to him, and I just flash through the window. Yeah, through the window, and I'm like, and he actually like stopped, and he like immediately hit the brakes, and I could see his car just move back. He's like, "Oh shit!"
Wait.
Yeah, threaten people with my SWAT gear. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I was a kid. I didn't know any better.
It was all alleged. It was actually all in Minecraft.
Yep, it was all in Minecraft. Yep.
You talked earlier about that you've been cosplaying for a while, and I mean, like before Siege in general. What did you start out cosplaying specifically? Like, was it a game? Was it? I know some people do like film and TV stuff.
I think my first cosplays were from video games.
Hmm.
I mean, like, of course I dressed up as, like, my favorite characters for Halloween and stuff, but my first, like, real cosplay was from Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
Yeah, I do have a photo. I'll send it to you. But I did Altair, how do you say his name? I don't remember. From Assassin's Creed.
I think you had it right the first time.
Yeah. And I loved that cosplay so much. Like, I was so happy with it. I was like, when I go back and look at the pictures, it's like the shittiest little cosplay I've ever seen. But here, I'll send it to you. It's so cute. It's just little bee. There you go.
Oh,
Right?
oh, you're so small.
I was probably in, I think that was between 5th and 6th grade that I got that cosplay. And I wore it to everything I possibly could think of. Like, I wore it to Comic-Con, I wore it to another local con, and I wore it to my school for Halloween, and I was like, I love it so much, and I wore it for years and years.
It's a
And
good one.
yeah, I think my parents bought it for me because they knew I wanted to get into cosplay, and they were just, I'm so grateful for my parents. They were great.
I think that's a really good one.
That's where it all started spiraling. And when I was a little later in middle school, like maybe 7th or 8th grade, that's when I started making my own cosplays. So
Like pulling from the closets and like ordering stuff for it.
yeah. And like actually like I used to sew my own cosplays until I realized I can't sew to save my life. Because I was in one of the home ec classes that they used to teach. And so that's where I learned how, like, the basics of sewing. And so I just kind of made clothes using that and, like, kind of just guessed on, like, half of it. But it got me where I am today, so.
That's something that I see a lot of people talk about when they're always like, oh, I wish I could cosplay. I wish I could do that. And I mean, I'm sure the first thing on everybody's mind is quality. Like they see all these amazing decked out creators, but I mean, realistically, it's not about that. Um, is there anything that you would suggest for someone who's like kind of leaning in that territory? They're like they want to start, but they have that mental block.
Let you know, every single amazing cosplayer used to have shit cosplays. Every single one. And they share that. If they're not too ashamed of it, they'll share that. And everyone starts somewhere. Like with everything, everything in life, you have to start somewhere. And some people start at higher levels because of the skills they've gained over their life. And some people start at lower levels that they have to pick up those skills that other people already had. Like, anyone can cosplay. Like, you can buy a cosplay, you can make a cosplay, you can buy and alter a cosplay. No matter what you do, cosplaying is cosplaying. It's just dressing up and having fun and, like, sometimes pretending to be the character, meeting friends, that sort of stuff. It's just everybody starts somewhere, and you're never gonna get anywhere if you just don't do it, you know? Just
Just
do it!
do it.
No, but seriously, just do it. Like, start. Like, what's holding you back? You don't want to be like, I know some people who are like, oh, I'm gonna cosplay when I lose weight, or I'm gonna cosplay when my acne goes away. No, just do it. Like, who cares? Like, we're here to have fun. We're here for a fun time, not a long time, you know?
And I imagine too, like a lot of people, they think about the possible criticism of it because it is the internet and the internet does what it does. Is that something that you also struggle with in terms of like negative feedback for that, or do you kind of just try not to pay it too much mind? Or
I do kind of deal with negative feedback because I mean, whether it's people commenting on my body or the cosplay itself, or whether or not it's accurate enough, or like I have the wrong contacts in or something, like I get plenty of hateful comments. And that's just how the internet is. Like, I've been on the internet since I was a tiny little baby, you know? I'm used to it at this point. But some people, they aren't. And like, if you can't take the hate, then like content creation, you might want to hold off on that. You want to make sure you can love yourself first before you hop on the train of content creation and that sort of stuff. Like you want to have a solid base with yourself. And people are going to hate on you no matter what. Like nobody looks exactly like a character. And people are always going to be like, "Oh wow, I love your cosplay, but this person did it better." Or you're not the right weight, or you're not the right height, or you have too much acne, or your eyes are too big, or right? So, no matter what, people are going to be upset, but there's also going to be people who love your cosplays. And you have to remember that. And you have to bring them into your community and be like, I want you here, you know?
it's hard to really kind of see that sometimes because it's very I think it's very easy to get caught up in that negativity, especially when you're either new or I mean, I'm sure even seasoned creators and cosplayers and other industry for anything. It's very easy to get caught up in that negativity where people are like, the thing that you made that you put a lot of time and effort in that you really enjoy sucks. And so do you. So I mean, I think that having that, like you said, having that base for yourself is definitely a large stepping stone for people. And if that's you, you're way ahead of the game. You're gonna do great. And if that's not you, that's okay too. Everybody starts at a different place.
Yeah.
With your setup that you got going on, I'm curious, with your streaming and anytime you film anything, is there a lot of rearranging going on? Because it seems like it's a rather small space, and that's not. I promise it's not a dig. I, but I imagine that it probably gets a little difficult to film some stuff in there sometimes.
Yeah. It's not like a super small room, but it is relatively small, and I do move stuff around all the time. Like, I'll have like this little tripod, I'll move it like over towards my door, and then I'll take all my stuffed animals and I'll move them all towards the door too, and I'll hide them behind the camera, and then I'll like film stuff while I'm on my bed, and I'll be like showing off a cool product or something. I don't know. Like the albedo pics I took on that bed, uh that like all my stuffies that I have on my bed had to be moved, and all of my pillows. I have like 3 pillows. Oh, sorry, 4 pillows. I don't want to talk about it.
It's a body pillow of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But I had to move all that stuff off my bed, and yeah. And then like I try and branch out where I take pictures, but like I don't want to like go outside and like dox myself, so I try to avoid taking pictures outside, but do what you can.
Now I will say, it sounds like uh, you're not very proud of your film crew that you have in there. Your stuffed animal film crew.
I know they do a great job. I'm sorry.
They do a great job. That's. I think we need to give them more credit than we are.
Exactly. Just know they're always behind the camera working their little stuffed butts off, you know?
The unsung heroes of Beast Productions.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, I have used some of them to hold up my camera because sometimes it falls over, I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to my router for holding up my phone when I make TikToks. Love you. Anyways.
Well, awesome. Well, B, I really appreciate you coming on and yapping with me.
Yeah.
Um, you very very interesting things I've learned. Learning the fact that pickles can go bad. Didn't know that. Um, I thought that when it was in the juice, it's pretty much in there until you eat it. So that was the takeaway for me. So I greatly appreciate that insight.
I got you, don't worry.
But yeah, I mean, I know we talked a little bit about some stuff that you got coming up with different projects. Is there anything that you want to talk about specifically?
I mean, I'm trying to kinda get some YouTube stuff started, so there's that. I don't know if my first actual video is gonna be a vlog or if it's gonna be like just like some gaming haha funny meme content stuff. Just like funny stuff that happens while I'm playing video games. Like it could be that or it could be the vlog that I will be doing for the invitational coming up for Rainbow Six Siege. So keep an eye out. I'll post on Twitter and Instagram when it's like actually kind of kicking off and stuff. But yeah.
You'll have to wait and see.
Exactly. You have to find out when I actually get out of bed and do stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. It was great talking with you, like always. And everybody who is interested in not only just the cosplay, but the new content coming by that B has, please, please, please make sure to go check them out. We'll have all that information down below here for you. But until next time, we'll have a brand new guest, brand new topics, and all new questions. So we'll see you guys next time.